This is the story of a man named Xander. He tried to escape the soul-rending monotony of his paying job by making videos about mechanical keyboards. He would make videos talking about other people's mechanical keyboards while trying to be witty. Comments came in telling him that he'd messed up the audio or that he should not make tutorials about obvious things. He bought many keyboards, but rarely built them. Although others may have considered it utterly pointless, Xander loved every moment, as though he had been made exactly for this purpose, and Xander was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Xander. Something he would never quite forget. He had been sitting at his desk for an hour, browsing Reddit and GeekHack, when he realized he wanted to actually build something. It had been months since this had happened. Shocked, frozen solid, Xander was unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he opened the drawer on his left. His failure to tell left from right could perhaps be attributed to the panic brought on from his new impulse to build. No matter, the drawer on the right contained parts for the Canoe 65%, one of the boards he'd been sitting on for about 6 months. He decided to forego the continuity check since the Canoe PCB was notoriously reliable and rarely, if ever, failed. It's well known that there are Japanese bullet trains and satellites traversing the solar system with less impressive service records than the Canoe PCB. Proving to himself and anyone still watching this self-indulgent excuse for a build video that he was a pusillanimous wimp, he painstakingly tested every switch position on the PCB with some tweezers. With that done, it was time to prepare the stabilizers for the larger keys. A choice that would perhaps have the biggest effect on the sound of the finished article, and one that would be incredibly tedious to fix if mistakes were made or corners cut. This time, Xander decided on sprit stabilizers, which used cherry parts and fancy-looking gold wires. Clipping and lubing the stabilizers before inserting them into the PCB is the next step. Look, I'm on your side. Don't just do the opposite of what I say and try and assert some level of control. It's really rather childish. Why would I want you to fail? Xander pondered this for some time before clipping and lubing the stabilizers and applying some thin fabric band-aid where the stabilizer inserts would contact the PCB. Maybe he should have used electrical tape, or felt, or lubed the band-aids. Maybe it doesn't matter and he should just get on with it. With all the stabilizers installed and tested for rattle, it was time to put the switches into the PCB. The dizzying amount of choices he'd already made today was starting to make Xander feel positively nauseous, so he chose a box completely at random. And with luck seemingly on his side, he found one full of lubed, retooled Cherry MX Blacks with sprit 68-gram springs. Oh, happy day. It seemed to Xander that perhaps there was merit to giving up control and letting oneself be blown through life by the winds of chance like a discarded plastic bag. Remembering some ancient Eastern wisdom regarding switch alignment, Xander inserted some switches into the plate and PCB in what he told himself wasn't a haphazard fashion. He took great care to check the switches were seated well and made good contact with the PCB. Things seemed to be going very well for Xander, which should immediately have set alarm bells ringing based on 40 years or so of cock-ups. Oblivious to the gaping chasm of abject failure that was surely opening up before him, he soldered in the switches. He was in the home stretch. Placing the soldering iron back into its stand for what he dared to hope would be the last time in this build, he breathed a sigh of relief. All that remained was to plug the keyboard in and test that the switches were, by some uncharacteristic break from form, functioning correctly. Then came the familiar self-doubt. Maybe, Xander thought, I shouldn't tempt fate. Maybe I should quit while I'm ahead. The keyboard has been fine sitting in a box for 6 months, and to come this far without bending the plate or melting the PCB was a miracle. Probably best to just put everything away and call it a win. Honestly, I'm about to wash my hands of this whole sorry mess. Go on, fire up Switch Hitter and see what happens. It's going to be dead columns and repeating switches all over the place. I'm just going to sit here and watch you fail. Go on, go on. It's a pitiful commentary on your life when plugging in a USB device and having it work as intended will likely be your most significant success of the whole month, displacing that day when you noticed there was no toilet paper before you sat down. Now to find some keycaps worthy of this opus in keyboard form. A poor selection would earn him the derision of thousands who would impatiently skip most of the video to see how the build turned out. That's if they even made it past the thumbnail. Xander decided that the much revered DCS profile would be the best match for his $500 keyboard. Classic cream cheese and green in thin ABS plastic being criminally underrepresented on Reddit and Instagram. Ah, intent on displaying your stupidity for the entire world to see, are we? Well, an unabashed lack of taste does have a certain raw honesty that children, the feeble-minded, or those with senses addled through drink might appreciate, I suppose. Oh, the infamous Triumph Adler, a set that was maligned for its colour accuracy as well as quality control issues. But you don't care about that, do you? You hope that it will make people comment or click a button to register their approval or rage. Either one will do as far as YouTube is concerned. You're really winning that click and bending the algorithm to your will. Sheer genius. With the board ready to use, the only thing remaining was to record a typing test, the thing that 83% of the people are here for. You know someone will leave a comment with a timecode so people don't need to sit through the hell that was the previous Christ knows how many minutes. Be sure to position the microphone far enough away so as to mask the ping and the scratch. Xander began to type.